Okay, to start off with, do you have any specific questions or things you want to be looking at?
I feel like sometimes I have bad timing
Okay.
and I go in alone or I force the engage too early and then it either causes us to lose resources or for me to just die. What else? I think that's all I can really think of right now.
Okay. Yeah, we'll jump in and we'll take a look at. We'll keep an eye on that timing. Obviously, you going in creates a lot of space for your team. That's a large part of what you're doing, or for your backline rather. When you take resources away from the enemy, they can't put it into your backline. So yeah, we'll keep a close eye on your timing.
Enemies on my radar.
Careful staying right here by the pillbox here. If this Ana wanted to, she could just sleep you, and then especially excuse me, especially if they're on Sombra Tracer, you could just get hacked and die. So I'd be careful here. Essentially in the middle of their team. I would say probably it'd be better to just roll through and get set up behind them instead of trying to poke out the Winston from here. Poking out the Winston, get these red effects off the screen, would be better done from here where the enemy can't really see you. In particular, like basically the entire team, right? They might have someone up here, but most of the team can't see you here, so you're a lot safer to do it from here. Nice roll through. We go again. Get the Hanzo off. Okay, so in terms of timing, we could engage. Nice little roll through. As we go through, our backline walks. I think your timing looks fine. I think you could be a little earlier. Like if you just roll through, don't take the time here. I'm not sure what your grapple cooldown looked like. So another way to think of it is like if your backline's a little later, this Zarya is really close. The Hanzo is not dead. And we're not really looking to take a fight here because the Zarya being on low ground doesn't make her killable because they still have the brick Ana right here. So we basically boop the Zarya into our backline, right? And I'm actually going to... Let's see. Okay. Basically just boop the Zarya closer to our backline, and then our backline walks. What we'd rather have happen is boop the Zarya. The Zarya can't stay here. She'll get poked out eventually. So we would rather her back and then, you know, maybe secure the skill here and then walk. Though it is nice that the Ana is not looking at the Hanzo and healing him. Your timing's fine. Backline's a little early, I think is kind of the summary of that. So yeah, if we were to run this back again, I think your timing looks fine. Just live, good call. Oh, I remember this spawn camp. Yeah, this is fine. I like this quite a bit, especially where the Winston just leaves. We can get this hack. Solid. Okay, we go for the same roll through. Good slam. That's already really isolated. Excellent. Okay, we're already full health, so immediately, I don't think you should sit on point here. I'd rather have you set up to cycle your cooldowns, whether that be coming here, grapple here. I don't know. I'm no ball movement expert, but putting yourself in a position where instead of in front of the enemy, you're set up for another engagement. And ideally, one of your DPS would set up with you, and if they don't, you can wait for them. But I don't think where their entire backline is still alive. I think you could have set up a little sooner. So yeah, so you're not stuck here in this awkward grapple. We make it work. but it probably would have been cleaner instead of grappling here and trying to roll here if we're able to grapple, I don't know, from down here and roll up and swing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, just after you cycle your cooldowns, you set up for another engage. Sometimes you brawl, but where their backline is still live and on high ground, I don't think that's one of those times. Alright, I think this whole time that you've been sitting here AFK, you could have been a little further forward. At the very least here for more info, and maybe even like all the way in here. They don't have a Sombra to punish you, and if you're pressing tab, you'll know they have an Ashe now, which means they don't even have a Tracer or a Diva to run at you. All they can do is shoot you, and if you LOS them, they can't shoot you. Kind of a compositional error by them, but you could definitely look to take more space, get info here, probably hear this Winston here, for example, and call that no one's close, just info for your team. Alright, this is really good, this is really good. Your Zen's chilling, this is good. I was gonna say, I didn't go over comms before this, but having pressure on this Winston doesn't necessarily mean he can't do anything, because he does have the option to jump at your backline instead of jump out. So calming to your backline like, oh, Winston's over here, let me force him out, is a good call. And then he jumps. So I'm curious, as we see this Winston jump in with Nano and Bubble, what are your thoughts on like, what do you want to do next year?
I'm looking at, I think I could have maybe gone for a trade on aggression.
Okay.
Since we have trance, our backline should be able to live. I could have gone for like a mine on the point with point pressure. Or I can mine the high ground for Sana have to LOS.
So when you say mine the high ground, you mean this high ground back here where the Ana is?
Like around the bridge, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like the idea of counter aggression. One cool thing about Wrecking Ball is that he's a lot more survivable than Winston, especially where this guy doesn't have Primal. He does have Nano, which is an interesting interaction when we have Nano Winston. The way our backline plays needs to change. For example, have Transcendence, play back. But yeah, trading aggression, not a bad call whatsoever. Or up here as well, wherever it is. Just because you could also like mine behind this Winston, but chances are good he'll just walk away. He does jump, right? So yeah, I think trading aggression would be really good. All right, so we don't trade aggression. Is this just do you remember why? Like trading aggression is a good thought, but I don't remember why. Like what was calmed.
I actually don't know. I think we were calling just to get out.
Okay.
So.
I mean, it does kind of make sense with how far back our backline is. Our Zen maybe dies anyway, but they don't have a Tracer or anything, right? Or even a Diva. So we could definitely get out and live, whereas slamming into this duo right here doesn't look too fun, right? It's not even necessarily a bad call, but if you did trade aggression, instead of like going through in front of the entire team, I'd probably go this way. Whether that's grapple here, or like go through here, or even go this way and grapple. Again, I'm not really an expert on ball movement. But maybe like if we did trade aggression, probably don't go in front of their entire team to do it.
Yeah.
This is good. Shoot Winston. Call that jump. I think you could have rolled in to help your Sombra here, actually. Let's see, what's the earliest you could have gone in? Probably don't want to roll through all this Winston still here. Probably now you could roll in and get over here. 1, 2, 3. I don't think you make a difference. Probably not, but maybe. Whereas, you know, you maybe get value as opposed to definitely not getting value here. Alright, we're gonna go back a little bit and take a look at this from third person. Because they are taking a fight in a little bit of a weird spot. Ashe gets run down, Winston is here. I'd say with how far forward they're playing, I'd like to see like some point pressure, because it is so easy for you to walk away and get this mega down here. Whereas once again here, like, you're not really getting any value here, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think point pressure, again, no Tracer, no Sombra. That's big to keep in mind, is you need to know, for any role, your threats, right? If hit scan, LOS the hit scan, but they don't have a diva, they don't have flankers, no one can chase you, no one can follow you, like, in any sense of the word. So you could definitely pressure point here. Oh, yeah, if you were in position to pressure point, this Cowboy was even lower just a second ago, and he dies. If you come here, pressure point, back away here, like, oh, Cowboy's won, bam, dead, right? And then instead of rolling in here and being 300 HP before the engagement even starts, you have, like, more cover, right? Maybe you go from here, grapple off the top up here, and swing. More cover, take less damage from their Ashe on the way in. Yeah. Okay. The other thing that's worth noting is we'll take a look at their Winston again, because Ball isn't the best character to force out Winston. We'd rather have our Tracer do that when possible. But at the same time, it is something you can look to do. So we can point pressure there when they look to take space. And also, don't you call this guy? I seem to recall you.
I did call him, yeah.
Yeah, we see him here. And I'm so sad that no one does anything about him. Yeah, so once again, you're going to want to isolate angles, right? So right here, their hit scan can't see you. You just free shoot this guy. Because not only can their hit scan not see you, their Ana can't see the Winston. And so worst case scenario, you force out this Winston. You force him out so he jumps out, or you force his primal early. Best case scenario, your Brig and or Sombra CC him and he dies, right? And then we're in a much better spot. So especially when Winston is in a very aggressive position like this, if he's like here, that's a lot harder for you to force out because he's in full LOS of its Ana. When he's playing an aggressive position like this, and especially when you can isolate angles like this, you are in a good spot to force him out, right? Shoot him, he leaves, you roll around, grapple, slam, right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Very cool. Yeah, so I think that's the big thing here. Is our backline can't take any space, which means Ashe and Cassidy both just like free stand on high ground shooting Winston primals. Yeah, I think really forcing out the Winston was the best thing you could have done there. Also being vocal about forcing him out before walking, like, hey, Winston's bottom right. That's him scouted, but now we need to force him out. That's unlucky. We need to force him out. We don't need to just know where he is. We need to know where he is so that we can... Oh, Shiba. Unlucky. We'll go back and look at this. We need to know where he is so we can force him to shoot him out. Okay, so speaking of timing, this is definitely too early. Without a Tracer, this Winston is going to be hard to force out. If the Winston doesn't get forced out, your backline can't walk. If your backline can't walk, there's no point in you going in. So I wouldn't even be inside the choke at this point without your Tracer. Your Tracer's dead, your team's not going to be pushing. I wouldn't even go in for any reason. Yeah, that's the long and short of it. I wouldn't go in for any reason. You good with that?
Yep.
Okay, what's step one here?
Force Scout Monkey, force him out.
Exactly. In third person peek, get some more info here. Okay, there's Winston. Once again, isolate angles right about here would be fine. Obviously, there is an angle here, but our backline is already in a really aggressive position. Without the Winston being forced out. That's, again, something, speaking of timing, you can calm to your team, like, let me go force out Winston, or like, hey, Tracer, come force out Winston with me. shoot this guy, make him feel uncomfortable. That should not be allowed, right? You shouldn't be here when their Winston is here. This is like the only reason this kind of thing should ever happen is OT, where you have to touch the point and don't have time to force out their Winston. We do live. Nice Transcendence. Bit of a side note, how comfortable are you with Baltic? Like wall jumps and such.
I can kinda. Sometimes I can do them consistently. Sometimes I can't.
Okay. That would be something that I think would definitely be worth practicing. Sorry, he's discorded here, and a quick little wall jump here. Free slam, right? Don't have to grapple for it. Don't have to take the time to grapple for it as well. And you hold both of these people in place long enough. I think the Brig will die to this bomb if you slam. And the easiest way to do that would be just a wall jump. And there are certain, like, there's a list of, like, ball tech in terms of, like, priority, how important it is. And I think wall jump would probably be the most important one besides just using grapple in general. So I definitely make sure that you're practiced up on that one. And then other ones, as you feel, you could be getting more out of ball. Because there is a lot. Brig does die, we get grapple back in time. That's a nice little boop. Ashe goes uncontested, which is something you can deal with. So let's take a look at where she is this whole time. Oh, right. I remember this. Alright, so I want to take a look at, like, your whole rollout. Yeah, I think it really is just a matter of, like, you're not in a bad spot whatsoever. It's just that the Ashe doesn't get calmed over, which we already talked about fairly extensively during the scrim. I think also worth noting there is that the Ashe doesn't kill people if we have, say, Transcendence there, which we could have had if we force out the Winston more efficiently, but that's about, I think that's about the most you could do there. Okay, so I'm curious. Not necessarily a bad choice, but what's the thought process with the Winston swap?
It felt like, it kind of felt like we were just trying to choke stuff. We were trying to fight a monkey. We're trying to brawl into a pocketed monkey because we were having trouble forcing him out, or we weren't doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that my thought process was that it would be easier for us to brawl if you have a Brigana, and we can push. And then I thought it might have been easier to force him out with this, but I think it's just mostly I just wasn't feeling the ball, so I just decided to go for a comfort pick.
Okay. I'm never against comfort picks. There's a lot to be said for that. Yeah. So you play Winston for the rest of this offense, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, just remember what we talked about with, like, ball, especially forcing out the Winston, how to do that, and, like, calming that, like, not just saying, hey, force out Winston, but giving a name, like, hey, Tracer, come force out Winston with me, or hey, Sombra, where's Winston, let's force him out together, and then LOSing their backline while you do that, before your backline walks, which is another thing you can call. Just keep that in mind while we now focus on Winston. Also, who joined the call? Yo, what's good, Zugor?
You mind if I sit in, bro?
I don't mind. It's up to JJ.
Go ahead, man.
I will AFK. I will not annoy either of you. Continue.
Dope. Awesome. Welcome. Okay. Monkey. Slightly different. Obviously, you can't just roll in. So what's good? Shoot their Winston and then leave. But it is still going to be the same, right? This is still a dive mirror. Your step one is still force out the enemy tanks. But it'll be more of a team effort. For example, seeing him here, I would just walk on him, right? So this isn't necessarily bad because the Zarya is one of their tanks. Part of the front line needs to be forced out. But, again, there's no Tracer that's going to be annoying you from, like, this angle. I would honestly just walk in and shoot this Winston. Especially where you have a Tracer too. Tracer can blink around to here, right? getting shot from here, Zap from here. The Winston feels really uncomfortable and can't stay here, right? With the Tracer and Winston, and perhaps a Sombra, we have enough damage to force this Winston out. And then you still have jump after to go on the Zarya. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. See, so this is exactly what we don't want to happen, right? Where this is fairly basic ebb and flow. We go in, we get forced out. We're now lacking on cooldowns, right? You're lacking on cooldowns and to a certain extent lacking on HP, and now they go in for free. This is a bad color choice, right? And now they go in. They get the second cooldowns, right? Winston engages second bubble, second jump. So now your backline is suppressed while theirs is free. And that's exactly what we want to not happen, and why we have to force our Winston out first. Oh, that's unlucky. Happens. Nice little counter engage there. We do still kind of have to wait. It's Ash's top left. Oh, goodbye, Con. Get out, reset. Nice, we live. A lot of nano charge. Okay, we should win this fight. We have 2 ticks, we only need 1, which means a re-engagement isn't really possible. Please don't kill anyone. Nice. No way. I'm kind of curious. Oh wait, what did we use Sleep Dart on?
30 seconds remaining.
Wait, he is sleeping. He just gets instant. Oh, that's so unfortunate, man. Sorry, small side tangent, but relevant. Okay, he's out. We can walk. Nice. Big EMP.
I'm feeling unstoppable.
Okay. Bit of lack of scouting where we don't really know where anyone is. And I'd also say, looking at this back from your POV, bit of a short jump here. Where was your intended landing point? Was it like here? Were you planning on landing on point?
I was trying to land on the bridge.
Okay. Yeah. Take your time walking up a little bit more. Jump does have a fairly long range, but let's see, where do you jump? You don't have to jump right here just because EMP came out. You can absolutely take the time to walk here and then jump. Ideally, they're a little bit closer in sync, so this Ana doesn't have time to kite, but the EMP being early, well, early, up for debate, but the EMP not being perfectly synced doesn't mean you need to jump early. You still need to, like, land your jump, so this Ana is not like, ah, that's cute, monkey, you know? That makes sense?
Yeah.
What? Okay, nice sleep. Okay, at this point it's lost. The 2 big things. For this fight, we already talked about this jump here. The second thing is, I remember specifically the comms and like talking about it, where we called to like int to go to int, air quotes, go aggro, and we didn't call where, and that is something anyone can do. So if you see a target, which we actually don't right now, which is kind of unfortunate, but we should know that their Ashe is over here and that their Winston is somewhere over here as well. Calling a target and location can help. Right? Or like right now, the Brig, right? Alright, we're here shooting the Winston when their Brig like just got rally, and if we were a little bit quicker, we maybe could have bursted her down. That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think mostly it comes down to, for this fight, it really is just that one jump lets their Ana get away. She gets to sleep you, live, Brig lives. A lot of problems there. And then for Ball, just forcing out Winston. Any questions for the offense here?
No.
Excellent. Okay, we'll go defense now.
I have a quick question, if I may.
Yeah, what's up?
When he gets nanoed,
Mhm.
and there isn't a target to go on yet, should we wait to nano monkey until we know where they are?
Yes. Yes. That is something.
So don't nano monkey as an engage, like, okay, we're gonna nano monkey and go in. We have to have a target already ahead of time.
A target or a location.
Right.
The location has to be relevant. Jumping here with nano, not a good call if we don't know whether or not there are people up there. For example, in this particular instance, the Zarya is up here. This would be fine. But securing this high ground is normally fairly easy. It's what we do after, like forcing out the Winston or what have you. But yeah, just walking in and like, yeah, let's nano. It's like, okay, nano and do what with it, right? We need to know like where the Ana is. And there are certain points where it's like nanoing just to get in is fine. This nanoing to just to get positioning, for example, nanoing and getting up here is fine. If their backline is already back here and we nano Winston and jump top, that's fine. It's not ideal, but it's okay, and it's a gamble I'm willing to take as opposed to just waiting around for our backline to die. Simply because this does so much zoning, having a nano Winston here sitting on their entire backline. Our backline is free, we get point progress, and we'll be able to cool down a cycle and stage from here. But yeah,
So on that
yeah.
on that second point, do you think it would have been a better idea to like we don't need to nano monkey as like to do it. We need to nano monkey with a target intended, with a location intended, with like a play intended. You don't just nano monkey and say, okay, we're winning nano monkey, and they just.
I actually didn't want to get nanoed when I jumped.
Right, he maybe
nano, but...
maybe he even didn't want to get nano there. Yeah, maybe he was just jumping to get this point or something. Like that. So when you're going to these gauges, we got to make sure that we have a target in like ahead of time before we nano monkey. Like, you don't just jump in,
right,
and then Ana accidentally nanos you, and then there's like no one there. Like, you need to already have seen someone. Obviously, that's like basic. But everybody knows that. When you nano monkey, you're jumping a target. But if you don't have a target picked out yet, you have to do that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, Nano does three things. One, it allows our Winston to live, which is important if they get on our backline with a bubble, and we have our Winston nanoed, our Winston's fine. We don't have to worry about him. The second thing it does is create space. We have space. I'm not worried about that. And for the first point, right, Winston's out, so we're not worried about that either. And the last thing it does is confirm kills. Right? And so at this point, we have space. We have their Winston out. We need to be using it to confirm kills, which requires having a target beforehand, a target and a location. Yes, that's good thing to point out.
Yeah, it almost looks like you didn't even mean to get nano there, low-key. It looked like you were just jumping point. Because you probably didn't know where anyone was.
Yeah, when our Sombra throws translocator across the map for an EMP, we probably don't have particularly good scouting. Okay. Speaking of scouting. I think looking at this from Narnia, I think we're a tad late. Which I think is mostly due to the fact, so our Sombra is going to farm EMP, and I wouldn't have them do anything otherwise. Our Tracer also can't really peek because they're at risk of just getting one shot. So the two ways to do this, on Winston, you can't third person peek. So the two ways we're gonna look to scout choke is our Diva, and that's something Diva?
Feeling for Tracer.
Looks like she's going back to sit with the break for some reason. Maybe she saw the Tracer blink over there.
Yeah, so this would be why. That's something I'll have to talk to Shadow Thief about. When we are applying choke pressure, we need our Diva there. This solo our Brig Zen should not be afraid of a solo Tracer. This early on, we have full resources. We're in the perfect positioning. Like, we get to pick and choose that. So our Diva shouldn't be peeling for this. So we should have our D.Va here calling for you. The other thing is, in terms of an individual level, you can probably start poking a little bit sooner, or stop poking a little bit sooner, because you don't even go through your full mag here, which is fine. With the reasoning being that, you know, once you stop poking, you now set up your grapple. If you do this half a second sooner,
Clear impact area.
this Hanzo doesn't get inside, and instead of being here, where A, his Brig can see him, but B, your Tracer can't. If this Hanzo's here, he's dead. Team fight 1. Well, not actually, right, but should be afterwards. So you're going to want to make sure that we do this a little bit sooner with our D.Va calling where they are, but also just from your POV, if we go run this back, hopefully we can get a bit of a better sense for it. Watching this back, do you kind of see like
Yeah.
how to recognize you need to go a little earlier? Very cool.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, once again, setting up for another engage. Speaking of setting up for another engage, as Winston, this is a great spot for cleave. As Ball, it's a great spot for a slam. Careful throwing at this side, you could get whip shot. And then here, if someone's left to choke, they can see you. But yeah, this is a pretty good slam spot. And I'd rather you have grapple already than need to grapple up.
I think I was like going for a boop.
Full speed.
Going for a boop, also not a bad call, especially because they are on Zarya. But even if you get the boop, we probably kill her. But there is a decent chance she just pops bubble. They're on a drops and she just walks away, right? Grabs mini, whatever. So it's not even like a guaranteed kill. So like it's fine, but we also want to make sure that we're keeping pressure on their backline, which would be done by like waiting here. Their Winston jumps in, our backline walks away. You need less resources than a Winston does, right? So they jump in, and then you can be looking to be on the backline here. And to that extent, there's even a better play, which would be down here with your Tracer, where if you get a roll through here with your Tracer, if your Tracer's not already low, that is, from getting legged by the Hanzo, who could have been looking at you, you maybe secure some kills here, because they are very split.
If that door exists sometimes.
Yeah, it's a weird door that is used like once in a millennia. Yes, instead of being here, if you've already rolled down here, third person scout here, hey Tracer, I go lower, 3, 2, 1. Bam. Tracer's here, has a mini, so this is a really good operating spot for your Tracer. Yeah.
Never really thought about booping people back out that way.
Yeah, booping people back out, like harassing rotations as Ball, is really, really strong.
Or,
Especially
like specifically that door, like coming from behind them and moving that Brig and Hanzo back out.
Yeah, this is something you could even look to do on the entire team's rotation, like when the Winston's leading, and just boop them all out. That would be especially effective if we had a range DPS of any kind. Dynamite, sticky bombs, Farah spam, like that would all be really, really strong here. Less strong here because you'd boop them all out. The Ana would nade, Brig would proc Inspire, nothing would die. So probably would be a bit stronger to go for a confirmed kill instead. Yeah, this Brig, looking at her here, she absolutely dies if you roll through here. Oh, she should still die here. Nice. So I want to watch this whole thing back. Not quite that much. But from here onwards, we're a little slow, like with our cooldowns, or not with our cooldowns, with our positioning, right? We've cycled our cooldowns. We're about to have another set of cooldowns up. You see this Winston walk, go to the doorway. Right, and even unload a full clip and then go to the doorway. Like you still have time to have your Tracer set up behind you. The main worry is if these guys don't stick around here, they're already up the stairs. Yeah, that makes sense. Just positioning a little faster, cooldown cycling. Nice. Oh, this is good. This is really good. Yeah, give your Zen Transcendence here. I didn't go back to your Zen. Just kidding. Things are happening. Okay, sorry, he does die. Yeah, 90%. We're chilling. Okay, we're about to have mines here. I don't remember how we use them, but I'm curious looking at this back. What's your thought process?
So I want to mine them when they try to rotate, because they're trying to rotate like a brawl
Mhm.
for some reason. So I think even mining at that little area between the high ground and the cubby, whatever you call it, like where second spawn is, I don't think that's a terrible idea.
Right here?
No, like to the right,
This
where
one?
the second point spawn is.
Where the second? Oh yeah.
Where-
Oh, okay. I was thinking you meant towards second point. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, over here.
right there. I think I could have looked to mine there. I think that's what I tried to do, but I fucked my grapple.
Unlucky.
But to be fair, I think now I'm looking at it, like looking at what we have. I think I just wait for them to try to take high ground. I can mine them there.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it. I can see either working. Also, this Hanzo shouldn't be allowed to be here. We'll talk about that in just a second. Yeah, mining the rotation here is good, but again, when harassing these kind of rotations, well, when interfering, that's a better word. When interfering with these rotations, we're doing one of two things. We're either harassing or trying to confirm kills. And investing minefield is not a harassment. We borderline need kills off of that. So if you're not confident in getting kills off of it, then mining high ground would also be a good call. So for this Hanzo, we'll go back just a little bit. We see him here. Immediately, what you should look to do is grapple somewhere around here, right? And spin around this way and knock him into your team. Or rather, a better way of putting it is not into his team, right? So what we do end up doing is we go this way, which gets us up here. But what we've done, and this is kind of micro, but is we've basically just stacked ourselves on this same angle, which means the Hanzo still has cover to play around. And when he has cover to play around and an Ana pocket, we're probably not going to force him out here. We're just going to end up feeding him Dragon, which he almost has anyway. But instead, if we can get around behind him, we can make him really uncomfortable. And hopefully, especially if we can boop him this way and our Tracer comes in this way, we should be able to kill him. This is an extremely aggressive position for him to be in. And on that note, our D.Va should still be up here, which I'll have to talk to Shadow about. But there's no threat to our backline right now, which means D.Va gets more value up here. Yeah, this you'd look to boop him in, set up a pincer with your Tracer. That makes sense.
I think it's something I need to work on with Dari, is like setting up pincers.
Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind with it is that it's a lot easier for you to get in and out and set up than it is your Tracer. By nature of you having 600 HP and grapple, which means you can get high ground with grapple. You can't with Tracer. Your Tracer cannot pincer from this direction. This is kind of niche, right? But your Tracer can pincer from this direction. Or even like here and then double blink up here. Or if your Tracer's here, can go here, but has to pincer from high ground. So one thing to keep in mind is when setting up pincers, which would probably be best done on like a payload-based map if we were to like full VOD review it, is keep in mind where your Tracer is, and it's a lot easier for you to come from the other side, right? From this one position right here, you can go either side, and which side you choose determines whether or not it's a pincer, just by nature of your Tracer's already over here. So when looking to set up an engagement, right, look to position early. It's like, oh, Hanzo's here, position early. It's like, okay, where's my Tracer? There's my Tracer, and go. Ooh. Speaking of your Tracer. Oh, we're just barely... Oh, we don't have Slam until right now. I thought we had Slam. Man, unlucky. I was gonna say we should be looking to slam him here, but we only just now have Slam, so that's a little rough.
I think, I remember this. I think Jay called for us just to go into them, because Dari was behind them already. There's the...
Oh. That's not even a bad call,
Yeah.
actually. This is not a good spot for them. If we take a quick look, Oh yeah, we have to get really far out so we can see our Zen. All right, but this is good.
If I hit the slam, man, they're all.
We'll go back and take a look at this here. So we go in. I don't even think you have to grapple here, actually. I think you're close enough that you can just roll off. And then it also makes it easier to hit the slam, right? Or even...
I could've just fucking jumped onto there and
Yeah.
jumped off and slam.
Yeah, that probably would have been the play. A little bit more exposed to their brig, but a brig whip shot I don't think will really mess you up in this case, because it would just knock you like further back on high ground. Scouting Humegalol. Yeah, it is unfortunate they all live here. Once again, cooldown cycle, right? We've cycled our cooldowns. We don't have them back up yet, but we will soon, and we have EMP. So, looking at this, ball doesn't do a lot of poke damage. You're going to want to be looking to set up. And they go faster. So this is what it looks like when a team properly forces out a Wrecking Ball. You still have full HP, but that doesn't mean anything when you don't have cooldowns, right? Or when... I don't know where your Sombra is, but I'm assuming your Sombra's not ready for an engagement. But even this small window of opportunity where you don't have cooldowns and are not set up, they get to do this. And their Hana lands a nade, and Banana dies. Yeah. We'll go back and take a look at this and see if there was, like... Obviously, we mentioned the slam. But if there was a better way for us to reset our cooldowns... I think immediately I see the most recent cooldown we used was grapple. And I don't think we had to grapple here. I think we could have just stayed here, which again leads to an easy pincer, right? Where you're here and your tracer's over, excuse me, and your tracer's over here. Their entire team is between you, which means pretty much no matter what you do, you're going to be executing a pincer. If they turn to force you out, you leave. And if they don't, you're still set up, right? I think a good way to phrase this would be, from here, like, what's the benefit of engaging from here versus here? Like, what real benefit does this have when you have full HP already?
There's no benefit, really. If I'm behind them, I can boot them in.
Right.
Like, if there's already tries to walk up, I can boot them into out of cover. And it's also easier for me to get in because I'm behind.
Exactly. Yeah, this is a great spot as, like, Winston, for example, right? Like, holding here or here, depending on where they want to go and where your backline is. This is great, right? But ball doesn't hold space. You're just looking to cycle cooldowns and engage. And cooldowns have been cycled, but the most recent one we used, we cycled... Or we didn't cycle the last grapple. We kind of just... used it, didn't do anything with it. Yeah, I think if you still have that grappled now and you're about here and you just, oh yeah, this is juicy right here. I still don't think you have slam. No, you don't. Oh no, you do. Yeah, you have slam, which means it's Ana absolutely dies here. Ana dies, they don't get nano engage. This guy probably dies because you'll show up. Yeah, lots of good things happen there. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about, like, ever coming back to point, really, as ball. Just cycling cooldowns. He gets help. Time for you to leave. Okay, once again, nice body block, by the way. That was sick. I remember watching that. Okay, once again, we're looking to cycle cooldowns. Speaking of cycling cooldowns, I don't know if we need to use shields here. We'll take a look. Oh, there's a storm round. Never mind. Good shield. That's fine. Okay, once again, looking to set up and cycle cooldowns. This is a little bit telegraphed, your rollout here. Fortunately, I think their Brig and Ana are both looking at the EMP, which maybe even should have gotten slept. Yeah, you maybe could have looked to come from here instead, a little bit more behind them, or even we don't have the time to do this, but in the future, like take one of these platforms out or even start all the way back here. This gives your team a lot of info with the third person peek, and then you can roll and slam here or roll and slam here instead of going down main. Okay, speaking of slamming, they have rally. Cooldowns have been cycled. It's time to get out. And by get out, I should clarify, I mean go grab the mega. There's another mega, but probably this one. That makes sense, right? You cycle cooldowns, grab mega. I don't need to come back to point.
Yep.
And just for reference, I know you probably already know where these are, but just for reference, to like really strongly visualize, these are your 3 megas, right? These 3 right here. And what they do is they kind of create this area in here where you can grab a mega and then engage. Grab a mega, engage. Grab a mega, engage. And that plays really nicely into your cooldown cycling. Whereas point doesn't offer you any type of healing. So it's always going to be cycle cooldowns, grab a mega, cycle cooldowns, grab a mega, in and out. Alright, if you're not here, your Zen can orb someone else, which actually no one else is taking damage right now, so not important. What a sleep. Okay, minefield. We need a minefield defensively. Well, I say defensively, we don't even have a backline. I really mean to create space. Brig's a fun hero. Part of what scouting does. Yeah, so they know you're here. Oh man, this is rough. And that's part of what good setups do, is they stop you from getting scouted when you come from like behind them. Speaking of, I would probably, again, I'm no master of like ball movement, but I'd probably hop up here and grapple from here, and get a little bit more mobility instead of just, hey guys, what's up, rolling into their backline. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm no expert on ball movement, so like I don't know if that grapple like actually works. I haven't tested it. But just that kind of thought process of grapple instead of rolling in to where their brig is now relevant, because then unlucky this kind of thing happens and you're dead.
Have a good one.
Farewell, Zugor. And that's that. Okay. Any questions for defense, ball, Winston, Volskaya, anything like that?
Volskaya, if I were to play monkey on first, I kind of don't really know where to set up for
On
like
defense or offense?
yeah, defense.
Okay.
So the 2 places I like the most is sitting out like on that truck, like the front of it. Yeah, like around it, or I just play the right side.
Yeah, these will be your 2 spots. Yeah, you nailed it exactly. And what's the reason why we'll go over this setup in full is you have your Winston will be here, your Diva or Zarya will be here. We'll assume Diva because Diva's more flexible. Yeah. And then your Brig will be here, your Ana will be here, and then your DPS, it varies. Someone like Ashe could start on like any one of these high grounds. I don't really care, just shoot things forehead. Echo would probably your Echo would need to stay somewhat close to your Brig, so your Echo would probably be here and then float back to your Brig, or just rely on health packs over here, which isn't great. And your Tracer would be somewhere in here, right? Tracer would be somewhere along here. And what you do with this setup is, I'll assume your Tracer's there. One of these 2 spots. What you do with this setup is your Diva's going to scout for you. I don't want you peeking. You get slept, you get hacked, you get discorded. Not good. So you are going to hard LOS. Your Diva will call for you when to walk in. And you'll walk in, you'll cleave, drop bubble if it seems appropriate. That's up to you. On like how much cleave you're getting and what comp they're running. If they have like a cowboy, probably drop bubble, don't get flashed. Cleave here, and then jump out. Your Brig Ana will rotate here. And then at this point, you'll set up here. Your Brig Ana will be here, and your Tracer, wherever she was, will hopefully migrate in behind them. And then you will, once you're healed up, you'll jump here, and you should be able to get here 9 times out of 10 before they complete this rotation. So you'll already be up here. And then what you can do with your Tracer is you cleave right here, and your Tracer comes in behind. while your Brig on is perfectly safe, and then like maybe Echo is somewhere here. Echo can even float around behind here as well, and then fly out. Does that setup look good? That kind of rotation?
Yeah.
Here to here, stabilize here, just get healed up, and then go here immediately before they show up, so that you have jump to get out instead of having to jump to engage.
And it's kind of the same concept that they go left side too.
Yeah, if they go left side, it's the same concept where you'll be here, you'll jump out here. Your backline should be able to rotate here very quickly. That's part of the power of having Tracer here, is help with the choke pressure, and then recall, and then is here to like scout and be like pressure like any Tracer that's early or something with the help of Brig packs. Yeah, your backline will rotate away, and you'll jump up here, and it's the same concept, right? Choke stuff here, but already have your jump cooldown ready to get out, and hopefully your Tracer is able to leave, and then maybe like double back around again behind them, and you get the same kind of pincer, or go through Mega Stairs even. Make sense?
Yeah.
Sick. Any other questions for Volskaya?
That seems about it for Volskaya.
Awesome, good stuff. Did you take notes, or would you like me to send you a summary?
Could you send me a summary?
Absolutely. Yep. Not a problem. All right, good stuff. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.